Magic fans, I'm B, and welcome back to another Historic Brawl gameplay video, this time featuring a Helga Skittish Seer deck, which is one of the new legendary creatures from Bloomburrow. Helga is a 3 colour and 3 mana commander in Bant, so green, white and blue, and she is a 1/3, and as whenever you cast a creature spell with mana value 4 or greater, you draw a card, gain 1 life and put a +1/+1 counter on Helga. And you can tap her to add X of any one colour, where X is Helga's power, but you can only spend that mana to cast creature spells with mana value 4 or greater, or creature spells with X in their mana cost. So that is important to know, is that that X spell is only creatures, so you can't cast it on a non-creature X spell. So obviously this is a bigger creature focused deck, and one of the important things to do is ramp early. That's very important in Brawl anyway, especially in green, but we do have quite a lot of ramp, especially at 1 mana ramp, because ideally you want to be able to play Helga on turn 2, and that way you can play a 4 or even 5 drop on turn 3. So we have all the usual suspects: Mox Amber, Avacyn's Pilgrim, Delighted Halfling, Elvish Mystic, Gilded Goose, Llanowar Elves, and the new, well, Birds of Paradises from Alpha, but it is only just been released in on Arena, and is probably the most powerful mana dork there is. For a 1 mana, add any 1 colour. And then Lone Speaker, Fanatic of Rhinos is really good in this deck, because we're going to get out big creatures pretty quickly. And then Arcane Signet, Chromatic Lantern's pretty good as well, because 3 colour commander, it just makes mana all that better. And it means fetch lands, you don't have to sacrifice, they come in and tap for any colour of any mana. Oracle of Moldai is really good as well to play extra lands and go for a top of our deck. Oracle, Inga and Solemn will also trigger Helga, so they're really good. Inga causes all our teams creatures to tap for any 1 mana and potentially draw cards, and Solemn searches up a basic land, and then when it dies we draw a card. Then we have some interaction, so Paths and Swords, Saconic Rift to bounce our opponent's board, negate mana drain for our counter spells. We've got Mystic Snake for a counter spell as well. Hunter's Talent is a bite spell when it comes down, and then we can increase it to buff a creature's attacking creature's power and give it trample. And then its final level is at the beginning of our end step. If we control a creature with power 4 or greater, we draw a card. We most likely will control a creature with power 4 or greater, whether that's Helga or something else. Stroke of Midnight can deal with any non-land permanent. Bridgeworks Battle is a fight spell, but also a land. Witch Enchanter deals with artifacts and enchantments, but is also a land. Mystic Snake's a 4 mana creature counterspell on a creature. Again, it triggers Helga, so it's a great card to leave up if we know the opponent's going to play a commander. And then Solitude is Swords of Plowshares on a creature, and we can evoke it in by discarding a white card as well. Next up we have some protection, not a huge amount, but a few. Dawn's Truce and Heroic Invention are basically the same. Give our opponents hexproof and indestructible. Our creature, hexproof and indestructible. But for Dawn's Truce, we do need to get our opponent to draw a card to give them indestructible. Swiftfoot Boots is just protection for our commander. Haste isn't necessarily important on Helga, because you're not going to really play Helga, give her haste, and then use Helga to cast another spell. And finally, Shalai, Voice of Plenty, gives us Planeswalkers and other creatures hexproof, and then we can pay 6 to put a +1/+1 counter on each creature we control. And speaking of +1/+1 counters, we do have a minor +1/+1 counter theme, because of the higher we get Helga's power, the more she taps for. So Hardened Scales increases the amount of counters we put on. Innkeeper's Talent is a new card from Bloomburrow, which is very, very powerful. 2 mana comes down at the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on type creature you control. So that's great. We might be able to, potentially get this down before Helga, just after Helga, and start buffing her. And then we can level it up for 1 green, and permanent control of counters on them have ward 1, so it just makes Helga or our creatures harder to deal with. And then final level up with 4. Basically, it's doubling season. We double the counters we put on a permanent player. So if we put a +1/+1 counter on Helga, we put 2 on instead. The Philo Vigor is really powerful in this deck. Whenever we cast a green permanent, we can put a +1/+1 counter on each creature we control, and it makes casting our green permanents easier, because we can pay 2 life instead of 1 of the green. So essentially, the best draw we can do is turn 1 mana dork, turn 2 Helga, turn 3 Shrimpy land drops Defiler of Vigor, and then hopefully have another 1 mana dork in our hand, then we can just pay 2 life to get it into play, start buffing our board, and then go from there. Railway Brawler. Whenever another creature ETBs, we put X +1/+1 counter where X is its power. We can put it for 4, which means we can pay 4, exile it, and the following turn we can play it for 3. Mariah's Wake isn't counters, but it does buff our entire board. Same with Immortal Sun, and obviously these are incredibly powerful cards as well. And then the Great Henge, whenever a non-token creature control enters, we put a +1/+1 counter and draw a card. So again, an incredibly powerful card and a way to potentially buff our board and Helga itself. Next up, we just have a few good stuff up the beanstalk. When it ETBs and when we cast a spell of mana value 5 or greater, draw a card. We have a lot of spells mana value 5 or greater. Guardian Project, whenever a non-token creature ETBs, we draw a card. As long as it hasn't got another name of another creature you control, which in Brawl we won't do. And then we do have Paradox Engine, because whenever we play a creature with mana value 4 or more, we draw a card. We have this in so we could potentially tap Helga, cast a big spell, untap everything, tap Helga, cast a big spell if we draw into it. And we do have quite a bit of card draw as well outside of Helga. And then finally is just the big things for greater creatures. So Goreclaw reduces the cost of other creatures with power 4 greater, which is a great thing. So we maybe multi-spell. Toski, whenever we attack, or whenever we hit with a creature, we draw a card. Beast Whisperer, whenever we cast a creature, we draw a card. Sarif's a bit of protection as well for our other creatures. Elish Norn, we don't have a huge amount of things which trigger on ETB, but it's a beefy body, and it does shut down a few commanders. So it's a powerful card to have. Mole Drifter, when it ETBs, we draw 2. Thrix, we can cast instant speed, and it reduces the cost of our spells mana for 5 or less, 5 or more, and they can't be countered. Silverback Elders, also a great card. Whenever we cast a creature spell, we can either destroy target artifact enchantment, look at the top 5 of our library, put a land onto the battlefield, or gain 4 life. Tulane is more card draw. Whenever we cast a creature spell, we may put a draw card and then put a land card from our hand on the battlefield. Tulane can be a bit hard to cast. Well, not hard, but Helga only taps a mana of 1 colour, so we're not going to be able to cast Tulane all by Helga. So just something to be aware of. Elish Norn buffs our entire board, kills our entire, nerfs our entire opponent's board. Again, some commanders, this just means they can't play anymore. Hullbreaker Horror, we can basically return spells and permanents to opponent's hand whenever we cast spell. Bulbon Tyrant's more card draw. Nyx Boom Agent triples our mana. Titan is Titan of Industry. It's a very, very powerful card. So it's Coma. Null Drift as well from Modern Horizons 3. When we cast it, we draw 2. Crater Hoof is a finisher. Galta, when it comes down, we put any number of creature cards from our hand on the battlefield. Seascape Leveler is removal as well. And then we have 3 X Hydras. Goldvein Hydra is really powerful. Vigilant, Trample, Haste. And when it dies, we create a number of tapped treasure tokens equal to its power. I think in one of the games, this was literally a 13-13, and it gave me 13 treasures. And I think I had Nyx Boom Agent out, so each treasure was tapping and sacrificing for 3, so it was absolutely bonkers. Voracious Hydra, when it ETBs, we can either double the number of counters on it or fight target creature. And then Hydroid Crassus, when we cast a spell, we gain half X and draw half X cards, round down. So if we get a big Hydroid Crassus, we can refill our hand and gain a lot of life. Mana base is, as you would expect, a lot of dual lands and a lot of fetch lands in the right colours. We do have Reliquary Tower, which, because our commander is 3 colours with no generic, if we have Instant Hope in our hand, it can be a bit annoying, but we can potentially draw so many cards. We need to have no maximum hand size at some point. I have had games where I'm discarding to hand size. So that's the deck. It is mixed in power. Sometimes you get games that absolutely go off. Sometimes you get games where you don't draw ramp and you're just waiting to turn 3 to play your commander. It gets moved and suddenly you're waiting to turn 5 to play it again and you're not doing anything. So in other games you get your commander down on turn 3, you get a 5 drop on turn 4, you get a 7 drop on turn 5, and your opponent just can't keep up. But But I hope you'll enjoy it. If you do, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the gameplay. Ooh, up I get Tiamat, so a dragon's deck. Well, we've got turn 1 ramp. If I crack the Misty Rainforest, fetch a green-white, so Temple Gardens, shock it in, and we can shock this in, Chromatic Lantern, Hardened Scales. Next turn we have 5 mana. So let's get down Helga. Obviously we can keep up mana drain if we do need it. I'm going to mana drain that. And if we get draw land, we can play Elish Norn. If not, we can just Beast Whisperer. Giving back Chromatic Lantern as well, it makes our fetch lands just tap. And our shock lands. So we do get a draw card from it. And obviously now Helga taps for 5. Well, that's annoying. And then we can keep that mana drain again. If they have a land for Tiamat. Doesn't look like they do. Let's play out Amarara's Wake. And we'll swing in for 3. I think we're going to have to let that one go. Annoyingly. can take out their Miriam, sorry. And Cyclonic Rift is a good draw. Swing in for 4. They are going to get a bundle of mana. But we can Cyclonic Rift their board. Or that would be enough. In next turn we could have played Helga. We'd have drawn 2 cards from the Immortal Sun. So hopefully drawn into a creature with mana value 4 or more. Played that. Maybe drawn a card with Helga and gone from there. Up against Bears. We're on the draw. We can Scalding Tarn. Birds of Paradise. We need two Birds of Paradise. Well, let's get down. And yeah, let's get down our commander. Wouldn't mind drawing a 4 or 5 drop so we can trigger Helga. Fair enough. Oh, I'll play this out and then play out Gwenna. They might have thought they might have a protection spell there. Kill him for 4. Next turn we can play Helga and give it haste, although we don't really have anything to cast with it. So how much do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't think we can get both of these down. Oh, maybe if I had played used Castle Garenbrig properly. See, now they play Kudo and they all become 2/2s. I don't know why it didn't tap Kudo, that Helga there. So we have 5. So we could play a X equals 3 Goose Mother. Which seems that is the only thing we can do. And next turn we can create quite a big Hydroid Crassus. Right, so let's do that. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15. Let's do this for 7. Probably should have put Reliquary Tower in our deck. Obviously, that just meant their commander would be dead on arrival. Yeah, maybe I need to put Reliquary Tower in the deck. So on the play, we can turn 1 Grove and Pilgrim, and then turn 2 Fetch with the Misty Rainforest. Or I suppose we can... Let's fetch our Temple Garden. Shock it in. Play out Helga. Are they going to remove Helga? Well, I'm just going to keep up Mystic Snake. Surveil. Sure, I'm okay with a Growth Spiral. Let's keep up the Mystic Snake again. I hate Patrikar's Humiliation. And next turn we can chew lane, but I will counter that. And then if it survives, bounce Helga. There's Rocco. Oh, let's play out Toski. We are bricking a bit. We are bricking quite a lot. Well, we finally hit a land. We will Growth Spiral. Having no creatures to play is kind of annoying. I would really like really like a Cyclonic Rift. So we do have quite a lot of mana with Incubation Druid. I don't know what the stick's for. Maybe all the food they can crack. Oh, it doesn't lose its... It doesn't lose its perpetualness when you put your commander things back to their hand. That's annoying. At least we can draw off Tulane. But yeah, really going to need a Cyclonic Rift. That's annoying. If they swing out, I think we're just dead. We don't have any untapped white lands we can fetch with Verdant Landscape, Verdant Catacomb, sorry, to be able to cast Dawn's Truth. Dawn's Truce. We should be able to mana drain it though. Well, that's just Helga out of the game then. Yep, that's the line. We've got to find Cyclonic Rift or we die, no matter what. Well, maybe we can draw into it. they get a counter, but that's okay with me. We may have somehow turned this around. And then we can put the boots on Galter. That's even better. Because then we can bounce the halfling. He's gonna... We don't really have any untapped tokens to draw. If they have removal or something, we can Dawn Spruce. And we can Boots. We can Gwenna. And we'll attach the boots to Galter. And then you've got attack, you can attack. We draw 3. Unfortunately, that Hallow Fountain doesn't let us play Repulsive Mutation. Oh, I should have tapped the Pilgrim, put the boots onto the Llanowar Elves, then we could have. They should play Balin. I don't know why we didn't play Balin, because then I could use the tokens for more mana. But yeah, going down to 1 as well probably was a bit of a punt, because they did have red in their deck. So they could have shocked us or anything. But yeah, what I could have done is play the Hallow Fountain, use the Pilgrim to put the boots on the Llanowar Elves. Then we would have blue from the Fountain, green from the Elf. And obviously we have a 13-13, so it's unlikely they'd be able to pay. So if they did have a shock or whatever, we would have been able to counter it. But yeah, a really, really stunning turnaround. Up against another new creature, Egra. So no ramp, which is an issue. But we do have some big ones to play. So I think this is a keeper, and we can surveil. Maybe we hit a... Okay, over another land. If they play an artifact or enchantment, maybe we can kill it. Put this on blue, and we'll play our commander. And then we can just hold up Mystic Snake to counter Egra. Assuming Helga doesn't die. We don't even need... Yeah, I'm going to hold up Mystic Snake. And if they don't play Egra, we can play Thrix. Makes our big spells uncounterable, which is obviously not relevant against black-green. So, well, I think we do just keep up Mystic Snake again. But we can take out their Llanowar Elves. Oh, should have attacked with Thrix. And next turn we can Galter. Well, let's crack this. Let's get a shock land. We'll put in our 3 non-X creatures. And attack. we can level up a Hunter's Talent. But next turn, assuming they don't have a sweeper, which they might do, we can cast a massive Hydroid Crassus. Right. So that's 9, 15, 18, 22, 20. So let's do X's 15. Don't know why it doesn't tap. Let's put this on green. Oh, it could have been a lot bigger than 15. We could have then done a massive Gold Vein Hydra swung in. Not for lethal, but for, well, actually with Galter and Thrix. And then a massive Gold Vein Hydra trampling through. Probably lethal. Up against Balin, so a tokens deck. Well, we have no ramp. This is better. There is no ramp though, but we can Misty Rainforest, get us a Bowland. Play Helga on turn 3 into Oracle. Sure, I'll just play that now. Play out Helga. And next turn, if Helga survives, we'll play the Oracle no matter what. But hopefully Helga survives so we can start drawing. Well, let's play the Oracle to see if there's lands on top. There is not a land on top. We can play Coma. They can all immediately draw or... Oh yeah, they can just draw. They can't put counters on it yet. Well, that's a bit frustrating, but not the end of the world. Swinging for 2. Wow, where are all our lands? Do we play Coma or the Mole Drifter? Let's play the Mole Drifter. causes us to draw. Oh, there's the land. We're going to have to discard down to hand side anyway, so I will play out from our hand. We can play Guardian Project and then Coma. Or Thrix. Yeah, that's a problem. Right, let's land. Land. Let's crack both of these. Shock that in. And then shock this in as well. That would be really good, Elish Norn. Let's henge. And then let's Thrix. Unfortunately, we can't play Elish Norn this turn. Yeah, we're 1 mana short. So let's play out Innkeeper's Talent. I'm going to put it on Helga. And I'll attack with an Old Drifter. That'll just sack a token, but it's better than nothing. And kept Thrix back to defend. And next turn we can get down Elish Norn, even if they wipe the board. Which obviously in white they have plenty of ways. We may just be dead. Oh, we're not. Well, that's a mistake on their part. Well, let's get down the Guardian Project. They're probably just going to draw. If they'd attacked then, I reckon they had lethal. Because they had 3 War and War leaders, which could give all their... That's incredibly stupid. They knew I had it in hand. Yeah, if they'd attacked, they had 3 War and War leaders, which would have, you know, buffed their entire board by +3/+3. They had 8 tokens, so that would have been 8 4/4s, a 7/6 Balin, a 7/7 War and War leader. So yeah, they should have swung out, I think. Another new creature from Bloomburrow. I think it does stuff when you expend, which is spend mana basically. No ramp, so there's no ramp, but Hardened Scales is pretty good. So now, turn 3, we can Helga. Wow. Sure. Because we can probably kill their commander with something. We can Helga, then turn 4, Beast Whisperer, start drawing. Oh, they've got their own Beast Whisperer. They kept to 1 lander. That was bold. Alright, we can crack this for a breeding pool. Beast Whisper ourselves. Put 2 counters on the Seer, and Immortal Sun's a really good draw. Next turn we can Railway Brawler and Gwenna. Or can we... Cyclonic Rift, very good. And we will... Do we Gwenna or do we Bridgeworks Battle and take out their commander? And we take out their commander. Next turn we can Defiler of Vigor. I mean, they could just recast their commander. They still can recast their commander. Bummer. So that gives us 6. Yeah, so next turn we can Cyclonic Rift. So I think we just play out the Immortal Sun. Buffs our board. So they have 6. So they hit a Bridgeworks battle, that's bad, and a Tulane. Don't know why we didn't give Atali haste. Yeah, we'll take a hit down to 11. We can flash in Thrix at the end of their turn. And have to discard. So let's play Guardian Project. And then why did it tap for blue? Alright, they probably didn't need a scoop, but we did have Mana Drain, which they didn't know about, to counter a Tally or a Kogla. Hello Magic fans, and welcome back to the wrap up. So we actually played over 40 games of this deck. I do really like the deck. Only a 35% win rate, but as often seems to happen in Brawl, it is just skewed towards playing on the draw. You know, we had 15 times on the play, 21 times on the draw. You know, the 15 times on the play, 60% win rate, 21%, 21 on the draw, 23% win rate. You know, that's why the overall win rate's so low, because we just on the draw all the time. And it happens, I would say, more often than not when I play Brawl. Last week's Brawl deck, there was one time I was 2 and 13 on the play and on the draw, which is just insane. But it's a really fun deck when it gets going. Definitely make some changes, maybe bring in some more removal for our opponent's commanders and troublesome creatures. But, you know, when it gets going, it's really hard to deal with. I had a great time playing it, even though, you know, the win rate isn't fantastic. I hope you all enjoy it. If you did, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.